So, welcome. If we get past that bit, then everything else from here should go okay. So I want you guys to start, please, in Supta Badakanasana. So you have one bolster and or bolster block and or two blankets. If you're at home, blankets, towels. And so Supta Badakanasana, here's the blanket variation, like this. The main thing is that you want to find the angle so it doesn't feel too extreme for your lower back. Give me that block. If you have a block, you can put the angle up a little bit so you can experiment. But I want this open, your pelvic triangle. If you have a strap, you can wrap the strap around the feet, around the belt. And if you have more blocks, you can put the blocks underneath your knees. And if you have a mani-pedi person available, I've always wanted mani-pedi during yoga, but that's probably too much information. And I'm just going to turn out the lights since you're looking up, but you could close your eyes. And I'd love it if you brought your hands to your lower belly. Try bringing your feet like this. And if you feel pain in your knees or it gets too intense in your hips, then you can shift your position. We're going to be here for about 7 minutes. 7 minutes. I shouldn't have told you that, because I'm going to entertain you so much in those 7 minutes. So really feel where you have your hand is not a matter of convenience. It's not like you're just folding your hands like, I don't know where to put my hands. What I want you to feel is the space between your navel and your pubis. And to start to really tap into the energy of your sexual organs and your intestines and the core of your pelvis. And all of these, what in some systems are called the lower chakras. And chakra is a Sanskrit word that just means a vortex of energy that connect you to the earth. And it is not obvious that we breathe into the place of our lower belly. A natural breath does. If you see a baby breathing, it will expand and contract in the lower belly. But I've witnessed already children at age 4 and 5 holding their breath, making their breath shallow, which makes them willfully pull up from the earth. So this is the first of a series on the elements. The elements according to the Hindu philosophy, which is earth, fire, water, air, and that which contains all of it, ether or space. We are made up of a combination of these elements. And in the Hindu tradition, the domain of earth is your hair, your nails, your teeth, your skin, your flesh, your sinews, your bones, and your organs. This earthy embodiment that you are participating in. And while it's almost impossible to tease out one element at a time because you have digestive fire in your belly, you have the fire of intelligence in your brain, you have air moving in and out through your body with your breath, and all of the fluids in your body are obviously water. It's not nap pose. So if it's too much, then I want you just to do one like that. You can do that. And this one, if you want, you could do like this and then switch. Okay. Let your eyes soften behind your eyelids. And so in the teaching, I'm going to combine a few things of both chakras and of embodiment. Children that you were all once. Children that you were all, I'm pretty sure you all went through childrenhood. At first, in their first months, they're basically just an eating, pooping, sleeping machine. They're an eating, pooping, sleeping machine. I'm going to keep saying that until it gets more laughter. When you hear laughter, you're invited to join in laughter, because yoga can also include, as far as I am concerned, laughter. And then what happens is you have this diaper training and you have potty training, and there's all kinds of stuff around that, all kinds of trauma or success around that. And that is establishing your relationship to your first and second chakras, as well as the environment that you were born into, the household that you were born into, the culture that you were born into. And all of this is imperative for you as a fully actualized adult to be able to ground and connect into this matrix called the earth. It is very challenging in today's society because we don't walk barefoot mostly. We don't sit on the ground mostly. We're not working in the fields mostly, at least in the Western society. In Bali, where I've lived for the last 2 years, I watched the rice farmers, and they walk barefoot in about 3 feet of mud for about 8 hours a day, every day. Now in the more modernized world, they wear boots, water boots or whatever, but I have had the pleasure of driving my scooter into that 3 feet of mud, and it is wet and earthy and rich, and it grabs you into the earth. We don't do that, most of us here in the West. If you're a rice farmer, please raise your hand. So our connection is challenging. Our groundedness is challenging, and our relationship to earth is so far removed. So we have to remember and, I think, actively cultivate the grounding of our human body that evolved so beautifully and intelligently to earth over the course of 14 billion years. The history of actual humans is something like 200,000 years, give or take, depending on whichever theory you're subscribing to. But really, in the last 5,000 years, we've gotten so far away from our evolutionary imperative that it's making us really whack, which is Sanskrit for whack. Please hold on to the backs of your knees and bring your legs together. And you can roll over to one side. And borrow your bolster. And then next position, you're going to take your legs wide like this. Ow. You can do this signature action. Roll your thighs back and apart. These guys want to face up. And for them to face up, and these guys called your knees, so your toes and your knees would like to face straight up. And then this goes in front of you, and then your belly goes straight down. You can make a pillow out of your hands. I require that your legs are active. Your upper body can be less active. I know, you don't need that. If you don't need that, give it up to somebody who does.
I don't want to give it up.
Now, if you're like, that is not happening in this body, your forward bend might be hands behind you, creating the curve in your lower back. That's called the first stage forward bend. And why you're interested in it is because this curve in your lower back was such an evolutionary phenomenon. It allowed us humans to stand and walk upright. Monkeys don't have a curve in their sacrum. If there's a monkey scientist in here that's going to tell me otherwise, please let me know. Because I get letters later. It's not true. Monkeys do have a curve in their... Oh, well then you should have told me when it was being recorded. Sit up on this bolster. So if you are tighter, you could sit up on the bolster. That's a good strategy. Or up on the blanket like this. You can sit up on the block.
Go ahead and curve, you said?
Yes. Okay, so it's work. What you're doing with the circumference of your muscles that are embracing your leg bones is that you're establishing an earthiness in your body. So the whole complex of muscles that are surrounded by fascia, which is muscle casing, gets calmed. It actually helps to facilitate opening in what's called the flexibility reflex. So flexibility reflex is what your body has so that you don't overstretch in a really fast action. You're tricking it out by securing and embracing and creating an earthiness in the muscles and the sinews, the ligaments, and the bones, which is allowing the body to open. It's not so much about flexibility as about grounding yourself into the earth. When you think of the quality of earth, what are some things, the element of earth, what are some things that it evokes inside of you? Anybody?
Stability.
Stability. Right? If you were embodying from the infinite space, the infinite ether, to magnetize into something, into earth, it creates a groundedness, a steadiness, a stability. What else? Consistency. As opposed to, say, cloud nebula, which might not feel so consistent. Notice this, as you're feeling tightness, I'll tell you what I'm observing. Tightening of the jaw. So this is a maintenance mechanism. Right? So see if you can, because you're a yogi, which is a mind training. It's not a body training. Body training as part of mind, as subcategory of mind training. So soften jaw as a practice. The other thing that happens, I can feel it in the room, is you distract yourself with the mind stuff. So you've left your body. You've gone into some imagining of a time when you weren't in this position. A time before your legs met this position. And notice when that happens, that mind stuff is of a higher frequency than the earth stuff, which is really your body. Think back to baby. Baby, its only thing in its first 2 years of life is basically dealing with being embodied. It's an eating, pooping, crying machine, that is figuring out what does it mean to be from the infinite into this earth matrix. One more minute here. 1 minute's not long. If you only had 1 minute to talk to your favorite person on earth and then you'd never talk to them again, it wouldn't be long enough. Are your legs still engaged? Check in with that energy, especially above your knees, going all the way up into your legs. Check in with your jaw. If I could harness the energy of jaw tightening, I'm pretty sure I could turn on the lights of a small city. Check in with your eyebrows that are skillfully hiked up around the hairline for some people. And the nostrils, which are flared out towards the earlobes. And then please inhale and come up. Okay, I know. Support the backs of your knees. Close your legs together. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Facing me. Facing me if I was back there. Next one. Bolster. If you were on a lift for the previous one, you're still on the lift. So all the seated forward bends are going to ask you to be on a lift. Thank you. You can take your belly up and over the roll. And make your scenario. Or here. Toes still face up. Legs still face down. What are things that we do that make us feel ungrounded? Anybody? What? Flying. Oh my God. I've been in Los Angeles now for, I don't know, maybe a week. And I think it took my body 5 days to realize it wasn't traveling at 600 miles an hour. I really could feel that in my body. Even though I landed, my body had a feeling sense of traveling 600 miles an hour. It's not normal. At least as far as we are in this evolutionary track. Now, you're here. I'm going to add some pieces. Can you please, wherever your hands are, if they're here at your feet or here on the ground, work what we have worked with in previous classes. Upper palate. You can make that noise if you haven't been in my class before. That's just letting you know where's the upper palate. In some countries, you can speak languages with that. And then let your tailbone or pectinate line, which is the space in front of your tailbone, related to the anus, engage. So as you're folding forward, you're not collapsing. Even though I'm letting you have a supported pose, I still want it to be active on the inside. What else makes us ungrounded? What? Driving. Does anyone drive? Ha ha ha. Does anyone not drive? Does anyone walk everywhere? You do? Excellent. There was a time our whole body is evolved, has been invented, has been intelligently designed for us to walk and run over mountains, across vast distances, like the Maasai. The Maasai will get up for breakfast and run 26 miles and come home for lunch. And like, what? No big deal. Keep breathing. Why do we stop breathing? It is exactly 100% the wrong strategy for your body to open. If you stop breathing, your body thinks that you're in fight or flight. And it starts a whole series, a whole cascade of mechanisms that are going to preclude your expansion and opening. Have these face like that. What else ungrounds us? Only driving and flying? What?
Sitting in front of the computer.
Sitting in front of the computer. Drinking coffee? Smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, and the computer.
Rushing.
What?
Rushing.
Russian? Rushing.
Russians.
To everyone who's Russian, we are not speaking about your country. Rushing. Time. There was a time where we used to just navigate by the sun and the moon and the stars, not like the digital clocks. I lived in Bali for 2 years. I hardly ever rushed. Now, as soon as I hit the ground in LA, I was rushing constantly. Fear ungrounds us. Fear of what? Not being Fear of not being on time. Fear of being in this pose forever. We are human. Way before we had planes and trains and computers and rushing and appointments and time, we had this body that had a contract with space and gravity to be on earth, to walk on earth, to farm the earth, to till the earth. And the remembrance of that is necessarily encoded in your body. Okay, 1 more minute. Without words. You looked at me and shushed yourself. You realize you just did that. She looked at me and she goes, shh, she's talking.
Remember, I shush all the time now.
Okay, Jake, take your shoulders away from your, I didn't say come out, just take your shoulders away from your ears. Because that's, actually do this. Take your shoulders up by your ears. Does it help you feel grounded? No. So let that go down. All right. Inhale and come up. Oh, shoo, you lived. You did it. You lived. Take these props, put them neatly aside, and then make your way in 1 minute or less into downward dog. Hagar says it feels so good. That's why she's right here. So I can keep looking at her face going, yum. Move your body however it feels to move. You can also ground through your hands. One of the things I've taken to doing, if I can find a patch of grass in Los Angeles, is after I get off a plane, is just to lie full body on the ground. Full body on the ground. Bend your knees deep as you lift your heels. Make sure that you've got weight in every single finger pad underneath the nail bed. As you bend your knees, keep your shins parallel and push your thighs back and apart. Back and apart. So feel the femur bones spiraling deeper into the hip sockets. The width and breadth of the pelvic floor is determining your capacity to deepen your breath. The pelvic floor and its width and breadth is like a trampoline that is allowing you to have space for grounding and a deeper breath and connection to earth. So now lengthen your tailbone and extend your heels towards the earth. Look up to your hands and step or jump, walk or jump. Take your feet, I know, outer hip width high. Bend your knees for a moment. Bend your knees for a moment. And either you can go on fingertips, or I'm playing with putting my hands flat, but I have the flexibility to do that, so you may not yet. Make sure that your knees stay in line with your ankles. And then slow motion, hugging the muscles strongly to the bones. Take your thighs back and apart. In towards the midline, back towards the back of the room, wide. And then lengthen your tail. Take your feet wider. You can bring them together later. Now begins the business of lengthening the spine. So as you use the tail as the anchor and the two sit bones, I think of those three as a sacred trine. The tail and the two sit bones. Now, if you let your head go for a moment and just nod it, like you're nodding yes, not from the muscles of the back of the neck, but nodding it. And you take your tongue towards the roof of your mouth and even back towards the soft palate. Right behind that point, right behind your soft palate, if you could go back like half an inch, is something called the dens point, which is the second vertebra in your spine, the dens point. And that's the pivot point of your head. It supports the atlas, which is then going to give rise to the skull. So the dens point and the tailbone are two measure points, or two pointers in your spine that we can use as the edges. So from the dens point to the tail, can you lengthen? And then can you follow that dens point in a straight line, like a laser beam, all the way through the middle top of your head. But don't forget to keep grounding through your two sit bones. Okay, get heavy in your legs, which means I need your heels to release into the earth. Bring your hands to your hips, shoulders on your back. Inhale, rise. Just close your eyes, releasing your hands by your side. Let all 10 toes release into the earth. Just for a moment, don't even do this rigid, like I'm in Tadasana pose. Just let yourself do this, do this, do this. Lift your heels, bounce. Just so you do this. Like catch air. You can even make sound, like you can move forward on your mat, back on your mat. I'm doing it too. Why are you guys frowning? Do it. Okay, stop. Like, some of you guys had faces like, I don't do that. It's okay. I'm sorry, I do yoga, I don't jump. So just release. Release your bones with gravity to earth. Just feel, if you close your eyes, can you feel how it just released your bones with gravity to the earth? Because we do too much willful pulling up before releasing down, we're not grounded. Even if you think yoga does not automatically ground you. It's not on the contract. You all signed yoga contracts when you came in? Okay, good. So close your eyes, soften your forehead. Let your upper palate lift towards your brain so you feel the rooting and the rising of the inner body. Release your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, stretch your arms straight up. You can open your eyes, but keep the whole of the pelvis releasing to the earth. Exhale and fold forward, touch floor. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, fold. Okay, do this for a moment. Look at me. Lift your toes up. What does that do? And it lifts everything up. Awesome. Now stand up. Keep your toes lifted. Now walk. Okay, that doesn't work, does it? No. So, come back. Everything I do in yoga, I should be able to do walking around. That's my current philosophy. So if I walk like this, what happens is I jam this amazing bone called the talus, which is made to glide, and that travels all the way up to my psoas and jams my psoas. So yes, that will lift the arches of your feet. Keep the arches of your feet lifted. Put your toes back down. Put your toes back down. I don't want to. Put them back down. I won't go down. Go to them down. And then fold forward. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. So now, as much as you can, extend from your dens point, the bone, that's the pivot point of your brain, right through the center of your brain to your tail. And then extend your sitting bones towards your heels. Inhale, look up to your hands, bend your knees, and step or jump forward, Uttanasana. Land on all sides of your feet. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and fold. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Right here in this halfway move, lengthen, very specifically lengthen your tail and your sitting bones towards the earth so you don't end up like this. Right? That's ungrounded. That's grounded. Hands to your heart. Do this for a moment so you can feel it in your body. Do this. This is my habit. Love me, please love me. Then let your tail go down. You feel how that grounds you into your heels and the back of your body? And exhale, fold forward. So in the transition, see if you can keep that steadiness, that groundedness, that earthiness. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, step back, downward dog. So if you were to draw zipper lines from your sit bones to your heels, and then if you were to draw this wonderful line from the tailbone, and on the opposite end of the tailbone, that dens point continuing through the middle of your brain, create that traction in your spine. And inhale, look up to your hands. Take your hands just a little bit wider. That's it. Step or jump. Your choice. Release your heels to the earth. Inhale, look forward. Try taking your feet a little bit wider apart, like hip width. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Hands to your heart. Okay, so here's another habit I've noticed in yoga. I travel around looking at people's feet. All over the world. So here's another, it's the tiniest habit. Even if you're keeping your heels rooted, there's this suggestion of this. Look at my heels. They rock up, and then we fold forward, and then we, a little bit this. And especially when we're coming up, it's a little bit up. Because our Achilles are short, and the backs of our legs are short from wearing high heels or dancing ballet or probably one of those two things. Because you all wore high heels and took ballet at the same time. Okay, so it's kind of work to let your heels, at least for me, to let my heels, and I never wore high heels, I'm tall enough. So try to let your heels and this release, the pelvis release. And try it again. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step or jump to chaturanga. Step to plank and lower, or jump to chaturanga. Come all the way to your belly. Earth. So pull, push, feel the tops of your feet. Actually, even sort of just pound the tops of your feet into the floor for a moment. Pounding is always a good way to create earth energy. Always. Now, okay, stop that. Now from let your pelvis lengthen back towards your feet and then curl up. But as you curl up, you have to use pectinate line or tailbone. You can Google pectinate line. Upper palate goes up. Neck long, neck long. Curl your toes, lift up and back, downward dog. Nice, Nancy. So retract your neck and head into your shoulders. I call that scared turtle. And then feel how it feels in your muscles of your neck and your shoulders and your jaw. And then lengthen your head and your neck straight towards your hands. Almost like it's extending out like a snake. Doesn't that feel good? Mm-hmm. April answered. Oh, good. Suzanne answered. She's just like, she knows me. She's just like, please move on. Inhale, look up to your hands, bend your knees, step or jump. Release your heels. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Good. Bend your knees and squat malasana. So you might need to put a blanket underneath your heels or roll your mat up a little bit. If you're more open, you can take your feet parallel. Hug your shins in and bring your upper arms to the tops of your knees. And then instead of like this, you can do like a hammock, extend out of it. But still release the pelvis towards the earth. Go like this. Do it 3 times because it sounds cool. That's like a water fountain. Okay. Upper palate. So I just learned this year. As a baby, our upper palates are one of the first points of orientation. Right? Because baby, it pops out into earth, and it's looking for one thing, boob. Sorry, you all looked for boob once, usually as a baby. And I'm not going to go any further with that comment. But this point of orientation is what we start lifting. You can watch your babies or your friends' babies. Right? You start lifting up into extension from the upper palate, not from the back of your neck, from the upper palate. I know, your knees. Okay. So let's stretch your legs straight. I want you to become familiar with this pose. You can bring your feet back to hip width. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, fold. Lift your feet up. Place your hands underneath your feet. So your toes are right up to the wrist creases. Padahastasana. Hand to foot pose. You can bend your knees so that your hands go all the way underneath. It's okay if your knees are bent. I want you to stand on your hands in this way so that you feel even that the balls of your feet are pushing into the pressure points of your hand. Have you guys seen, and you all should if you haven't, the movie Temple Grandin? What is she talking about, huh? Oh, no. So Claire Danes is amazing. She win a Golden Globe? Yes. Okay. That's how yoga students answer. Temple Grandin is a real woman who suffered from autism, and she found that she could calm her, say the term? Her tactily what? Defense. Right, so she could ground her sensory integration. I have all these amazing experts in the room. By putting herself into a cow inoculation machine that hugged her to the earth because she was so wide open in the sensory realm. And I think many of us are not dissimilar. You don't have to be diagnosed with autism or Asperger's. My sister has the term spectrumy, right? For kids on a continuum, which is us. When I say kids, I mean us. Please take your hands from underneath your feet. Make sure you're not locking your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Every time you stretch up, you have to release the pelvis down. If you feel like you lost it, just like do this for a moment. Exhale, fold forward. Yeah. Inhale, look forward. Keep your heels releasing into the earth. Exhale, step back, downward dog. You step your right foot forward, left foot flat, warrior two. So we'll take a moment here because it's worthy. Please bring your hands to the tops of your thigh creases and bow forward. So your right heel is intersecting the arch of your left foot, but as you bow forward, try to dial both thighs back and apart. You're doing awesome. Take a little bit of a longer stance. Without letting your thigh pop forward, especially the back one, lengthen your tail towards the earth. Lengthen your tail towards the earth, and then inhale and stretch your arms up out to the side as you come up to vertical. So what I'll often feel in this pose is my jaw tighten, because I'm like trying really hard to get everything right, which is hilarious. Okay, so then soften the jaw, soften the jaw. And see if as you're sliding, as you're gliding your right leg forward, and this is why the toes have to be down, if you lengthen, then what happens in the foot is it transfers weight towards the front of the foot, allowing for the sliding elliptical action of the talus muscle from the calcaneus. And you can pulse up a little bit, but then glide deeper. But make sure, please, everyone, you're not locking your left knee, because locking the knees will actually not help you ground. And it's also not sustainable. Let your eye gaze be wide. If you are here, if you, in other classes, doing wide version. Soften your lips from each other. Good, right leg straight, triangle pose. You're going to get to do this a few times. So let's make friends. So inside edge of your right foot is the key point. Big toe mound to inner heel. And now from the two edges, the two halves of your hips, extend energy from each pelvic half down through your legs. So your pelvis it's what lets you know that you're a bilateral being. Each pelvic half, extend it down. Put your toes down. Just try it. Tomorrow you can lift your toes up all day long. Just try it. Good. Look down to the floor, step forward, half moon. So you have to be able to surf your foot. Your foot has, to be able to traverse the earth, your foot has, it's called an ankle foot and a heel foot. The heel foot is your calcaneus through your fourth and fifth toes. And the ankle foot is the talus that glides out through your third toe, second toe, big toe. It's an awesome, awesome invention, your foot. Engage your back foot. So you can use a block right here for your hand. Right? That's it. And then flex this foot. Okay, please step back slow, slow, slower than that to triangle pose. And take your left hand to the floor, Parsvottanasana. Step your back foot in a little bit. So your hips are square towards the front of the room, Parsvottanasana, also called pyramid pose in some systems. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, fold. Let's do that 2 more times. So you can use your fingertips against the floor, but super energy in the back leg. Take your left foot slightly to the left. It's okay for me if your hips are, your feet are hip width apart, because I'm more interested in anything than you grounding through your pelvis. One more time. Inhale and exhale, fold. Okay, twisting triangle. Take your left hand. You have options, either to the outside of your right ankle shin or underneath your left shoulder. So before you stretch your arm up, take your right hand to your sacrum, please. Your sacrum is the keystone of your body. Sacrum, keystone of your body, that thing that you created a curve in to walk upright. And then slide your right shoulder back. Now stretch your right arm up. So the right arm tendril. When you establish the sacrum, that helps you establish level in the pelvis, which helps you ground down evenly through both sides. Now extend from your upper palate all the way through the middle of your head. Good. I just love that. Inhale, untwist. Please step your left foot up to meet your right. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Separate your feet wider, squat malasana. Stretch your arms up. If that's not okay, you can also do this. Like you can also take your hands to the floor. You can also lift your heels if you're absolutely in agony. 3 breaths, just 3. Notice if you start to scowl. I was saying in another class, if you just imagine trillions of your cells replicating the face you're making now. That keeps me honest in my face. I'm like, oh no. Please fold forward, Uttanasana. Your feet back to inner hip width. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Release your pelvis to your heels. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Sit bones down. Good. Hands to your heart. So that's the sequence. That's the sequence. So you can rest inside of the container that we're going to repeat. I won't tell you how many times because then you'll be like, Dad. Inhale, stretch up. I don't know. That's the talking section. I'm looking at you because I love you. Exhale, fold forward. I don't look at people I don't love. So make sure your second toes are parallel. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step back, downward dog. Nicole, put more weight on the outside of your right heel, so the 4th and 5th toes of your right foot. Please step your left foot forward, right foot flat. Warrior 2. And bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. I say tops of your thighs rather than your hips because I like to feel, as I bow forward and spiral the thighs back and apart, I like to feel that action. That's why I put it there. And as you keep the thighs back, this is a complementary action that creates your earthy embodiment. You're doing awesome, man. Right? Then lengthen the tailbone down. And that's such a tricky action. I practice all the time. And then float your arms out to the side. So imagine that I had my hands on your pelvis and I was weighting you down. And that weighting down is extending then out through your legs asymmetrically and down through your feet. Because you're always trying to connect yourself to the electromagnetic energy of the earth through the floor, whatever story of an apartment you're in, on an airplane. There's not earth on it, whatever. Don't go into that. Hagar, awesome. Take your back foot back more. Good, left leg straight, triangle pose. Feel that burn in your thigh? That's just earthiness. I'm trying to create a translation in my brain, so I'm creating new neural pathways. And when I feel a muscle burn, I'm like, wow, it's saying I exist. Like some of you nodded and smiled, and some of you are like, F you, teacher. That's cool. Okay, so keep real steady. What did we say the qualities? We said steadiness, groundedness, commitment. Keep that in your left foot as you step into half moon. Steady, grounded, commitment as you step into half moon. That left foot doesn't turn at all. If it turned, try to dial it back, forward. And then from the core of your pelvis, extend out in every direction. So supported by the earth, extend out in every direction. Left root of the big toe is the key. And slow motion. Do this. Don't even let your right foot, the top one, touch the floor. Just bend your left knee and extend back. And bend your left knee and extend back. And bend your left knee and extend back. And then step back to triangle pose. Graceful. Good. Please bring your right hand to the floor. Step your back foot in, Parsvottanasana. Do this. Unplug your back heel for a moment. Bend your right knee. Bend your right knee. And then just see how that makes it really easy for you as you bend that back knee like a runner to move the top of your right thigh back. Keep your front leg straight though. John, keep your front leg, that's it. So keep the top of that thigh back. That's just seesaw principle happening in the back leg. And then extend from your right sitting bone all the way to your heel. So you're becoming very smart in terms of the front of your leg, the back of your leg. Inhale, look forward, extend. Bring your hands to blocks. Bar your block. Exhale and fold. Find the upper palate extending through the top of your brain. Again, inhale, look forward, both thighs, and the front thighs moving back, and exhale and fold. Twisting triangle, Parsvottanasana. Right hand to the outside of your left shin. If that's too much, you decide, then keep your right hand underneath your shoulder. Keep widening your right leg to the right, left hand to the sacrum. Thank you. Some of you are so awesome in listening. Slide your left collarbone, arm bone, scapula back first, then extend the left arm. So a twist is determined by everything. So do this. Bring this hand here. Push your hand into my hand. Yeah. You feel the difference? That's awesomeness. Twist is defined by the pelvis staying steady and then everything above moving, rotating. Please inhale, untwist. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and fold. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Oh my goodness. Hands to your heart. I forgot something, squat. Meant to squat first. So if you're, you could take your legs wider. You could lift your heels up. You could place something underneath your heels. Just be 5 breaths here. If you're feeling, I'm interested in you softening your eyes, whether your eyes stay open or closed, so that body doesn't go into duress and stress, but rather it goes into rest and digest. From the pectinate line, from that place that we've been talking about, see if you can lift up to the upper palate. Two more breaths. See if you can just feel yourself connecting to earth through your feet and your pelvis, rather than focusing on that you're in pain and agony and anguish. How can I tell? I'm just looking at your face. Fold forward. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and fold. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Heels release, tail releases. Hands to your heart. Stay here for a moment, ground. Say to yourself, I sign up for this. I sign up for this. It doesn't ground you to earth, I promise you, to be here physically in your body and to be mentally somewhere else. To be here physically in your body and to be mentally doing something else. It'll do the opposite of ground you. And your body will get no benefits. Second time, inhale, stretch your arms up. Tailbone releases down. Exhale, fold forward. The meaning of union, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step back, downward dog. Is that your mind body is unified to the whole. That's real yoga. Right foot forward, left foot flat, warrior two. Otherwise, it's just low impact aerobics and thinking with Sanskrit words. So imagine that the two halves of your pelvis are widening, the two halves of your pelvis out, both directions, even though it's asymmetrical. Right leg straight, triangle. We can go a little bit faster. Make sure, please, that you're not locking the knees. The knees, every joint is supported and suspended in buoyant space. Extend from the two halves of your pelvis down through your legs. On your next breath, step forward, half moon. Steady commitment in your right foot. Flex your left foot so it also has a boundary for you to expand into. Soften this. Yeah. Slow and steady. Bend your right knee, extend back through your left. Bend your right knee, extend back through your left. Bend your right knee, extend back through your left. Triangle pose. You're not in a rush to look up if it strains your neck. If you're looking up and your neck is strained, something's not right. Look straight, actually do this. Look straight to the side and just find your upper palate and let it open up the back of your neck. Yeah, you can. And then if you turn up on the pivot of the dens, there should be no strain in your neck. If there's strain, don't look up. That's just smart. Take your left hand to the floor, step your back foot in. Parsvottanasana. Find all sides of your feet. So big toe mound, the inner heel, pinky toe mound, the outer heel. Spiral your thighs back and apart. So you're opening up the codes and the keys of the pelvic floor. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold forward. Twist. Left hand to the outside of the right shin. Right hand to your sacrum. Slide your collarbone, your arm bone, your scapula back. Then unfurl the right arm. Good job. Steady on the inside edge of your right foot. Lengthen from your tailbone all the way through your dens point. Renee, awesome. Good. Inhale, untwist. Please step your left foot up to meet your right. Land on all sides of your feet. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, squat. I'm with it. But thank you for cueing me. Everyone's like, don't forget. Breathe. I love you guys. I'm not even kidding. Please help me. I need all the help I can get. I am not a willfully contracted individual being. I am, but I'm trying not to be. Okay, check in with your face. What is it replicating 1 trillion times? Good. Fold forward. Uttanasana. We are hilarious earth beings, aren't we? Inhale, look forward. Exhale and fold. Release through your feet. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Steady. Good. Hands to your heart. Now your body knows it. Inhale, stretch up. Isn't it awesome? When your body starts to familiarize yourself, bless you, with a routine, exhale, fold. So make your feet parallel. Yeah. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step back, downward dog. It starts to be able to expand inside of the container that you've established. Left foot forward, right foot flat, warrior two. That's why you have routines in your life. I don't, but you do. Take your back foot backward. Yeah. Ground down through from the outer hip all the way down to your pinky toes. From your outer hip all the way down to your pinky toes, ground. And expand equally through both legs. Look straight ahead towards me. So I just came from India, where there's only one answer to every single question. Yes, no, maybe. And it was really funny. Out of like 26 white people on a bus, hardly anybody could do that. They'd be like, I don't understand. You gotta find the pivot point. The pivot point, the pivot point, the pivot point. You should play with that. It's super important. Look over your left fingers. I had a Heller worker, which is like a amazing body worker. She was like, play with your bobblehead. Bobblehead is super good for finding the freedom of your head. It doesn't want to be jammed, skull on top of atlas. That's misinformation. Left leg straight, triangle pose. Hagar, you've been on that trip, you know. 2 weeks in South India, you cannot stop bobbing your head. And I felt sad for those that had tight necks, like they're getting whiplash every time they were trying. I still can't stop. I was like, will you come to teach class at 10? What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe. I'll be there. Yes, no, maybe. Same, but different. Step forward, half moon. The back foot's not dead. Otherwise, we'd have to cut it off. Imagine that you're doing this, that you're pushing your right foot into a wall, and that you're reaching your right arm towards another one. If I had my invention, the yoga box, you would have something touching every side. And then you could expand into your back body as much as your front. Good. Bend your left knee, extend out through your right. Bend your left knee, extend out through your right. Bend your left knee, extend back, and then in the last second, step back to triangle pose. Nice. Right hand to the floor. Step your back foot in. Parsvottanasana. Find all sides of the feet. So the inside edge, outside edge. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Good work. Good. Twist. Right hand to the outside of your left foot. If that's too much, underneath. Don't lock that. Yeah. Stretch your left arm up. Steady commitment in your right leg. Feel where your right femur head, which is the top of the thigh bone, meets the hip socket, and let it spiral in towards the midline, then back toward your hamstrings, and then widen apart. So the femur bones are like keys in the pelvis. Good. Inhale, untwist. Step your right foot up to meet your left. So we're going to do an Uttanasana before the Malasana, all my friends who are concerned for my brain. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, squat, Malasana. Some of you who are more open, if you want to play with taking your feet all the way together, you can. Even opening your knees out to the side. You could extend forward like that. Those of you who aren't doing that, love the people that are. Now, can you extend your neck and head out of the shoulder girdle? So we're not here, but here. Let your exhales be double your inhales, just for the next 2. So that the letting go part, the apana, the downward flow of energy, we're doubling it for earth energy. Good, stretch your legs straight. Uttanasana. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Feel the connection of your sitting bones toward your heels, your tail going like a tripod between the two. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Actually, on the sheet, I had 2 more times, but I feel like one more time's enough. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, extend forward. Now see if you can make your hands touch something. Exhale, step back to downward dog. The wrist creases are parallel to the front of your mat. You're doing super. No, you had it right. Just make sure that they don't turn in or out. Right foot forward, left foot flat, warrior 2. Now see how deep you can go. Like your muscles are warmed, they're rehearsed, they're primed. Right? It's kind of like when you try to lift up a heavy piece of furniture. That first time, not so good. And the second time, your muscles rehearse. That's what they do. Start the never-ending process of looking at your right thigh and asking, is it parallel to the floor? Is it parallel? Thigh, are you parallel to the... I know, pounding it for all of your best efforts really won't help. But you can try and see if that works, but I think you have to extend. It's an extension component. Right leg straight, triangle pose. But see, the report back. If pounding gets it there. Keep working to extend all sides of your neck equally. All sides of your neck equally. Steady earthiness in your right foot. Step forward, half moon. It's beautiful. All sides, the whole circumference of your right thigh is engaged, solidifying your existence. Slow motion, step back to triangle pose. So bend, extend, bend, extend, bend, extend, bend, extend. I know, it's like playing with gravity. Exhale, left hand to the floor. Step your back foot in, Parsvottanasana. Dialing your thighs back and apart. Inhale, look forward. You're doing good. Exhale, fold. How's it doing? Good. One more time. Inhale, look forward. Take these toes a little bit more forward. Yeah. Exhale, fold. Left hand to the outside of the right ankle shin. Right hand to your sacrum. So see, how much can you, before you take that arm up, how much can you widen your left thigh to the left, and then in opposition, twist your upper body to the right. That's the game. And then unfurl the right arm. Beautiful. So it's the last time this side. Extend, dens point to tail as much as you can. Dens to tail. Inhale, untwist. Step your left foot forward, Uttanasana. Ground through all sides of your feet. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, squat malasana. This goes like this. Have you guys seen, what's that thing called? A hanger? You know that you hang shirts on? You've seen them? You notice how hangers aren't like this? Because they want your shirt to look nice. That's your hanger. It's designed based on your shoulder girdle. I'm being funny, but for real. So if you want your clothes, like your skin and stuff, to hang right, Right, you guys can laugh better in other postures. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Feet parallel, which is your second toe intersecting the middle of the ankle. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. Now think about releasing your back ribs down, your sitting bones down, all of that releasing. Good. Hands to your heart, Samastitihi. Last time, last side. Give it everything, because it's delicious. Inhale, stretch up. I just said that like a commercial. I'm trying to make you come on board. Exhale, fold. Nice, Ronnie. Inhale, extend through the upper palate. So it's not the back of the neck doing the work. Exhale, step back, downward dog. Left foot forward, right foot flat. Warrior two. If you want to do that same side again, Renee, it's cool. Let's skip your right side, your left side. So notice when you get tired how the head starts to sit on top of the shoulders. And we know that if we don't use it, we lose it, which is just convenient because it rhymes. So we have to find the muscles of our neck to support try to bobblehead. You can practice in the mirror, it's fun. Do I have it right? Excuse me. Arun, can you check my bobblehead? Left leg straight, triangle pose. Arun's my friend, but he's also my Indian Bob. So here, push this into my hand. Push it, yeah, and then try to slide. That's where it wants to go. Feel the difference? Step forward, half moon. Steady on the left foot. Flex. Nice arches. Only turn the head up if it's going on the pivot point. It's called the pivot point because it's the pivot point. Intelligently named the pivot point. Slow as you can, step back to triangle pose. It's okay. This is how we measure gravity. This is how we figure it out. Take your right hand down to the floor. Step your back foot in. Parsvottanasana. Spiral your thigh bones back and apart. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Twist. You have to ground through the back leg in order to support the twisting of the upper body. It's just the general premise. The lower body, the pelvis through the legs, is supporting the movements of all the magic that you have going on above the pelvis. Slide. When we say slide the tops of your ears back, that's just another cue. That's an outer body reference to say the upper palate from the inside that wants to go back. Nice, Yancy. Inhale, untwist. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Guess what? Squat. Last time. You can get down with it. That was lingo. Get down with it. There was one guy in India, this waiter, who had a confusing head bobble. He was like, I think he was flirting with my friend Todd, and he was like, I was like, I don't even understand that head bobble. It was like a with a head bobble all wrapped up in one confusing gesture. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Todd was down with it. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. hands to your heart. Just close your eyes. Let your energy release into the earth. Feel how the heaviness of your pelvis and your legs gives rise to the amazing space and prana in your heart, your lungs, your chest, your throat. You rise to your brain. You're connected. You're connected. You're connected to the earth. Please bend your knees and come down to seated. Bring your right leg forward and pull your left foot back. Sometimes sitting is so sweet, isn't it? So you can lift your hips up, engaging the muscles of your legs. So you create that steadiness in the leg musculature to move the thigh bones back and apart. And just do this, keeping the whole, both halves of the pelvis. So the two halves of the pelvis are, it's like this, like the bilateral symmetry, right? Two sides. So extend out equally through both legs and just fold forward this way, diagonal. Notice, at least my tendency is for my sitting bones to unplug. So try to keep the sit bones plugged down and think of the tail lengthening towards the floor. So if the floor of the pelvis were diamond shape, going laterally right to left and also forward and back, try to expand the diamond shape of the pelvis. Breathing. You can use your hands against the floor to help pull you forward. I also like just anything touching what is closest to earth is connecting to earth. Isn't it cool how kids eat dirt? I've been just watching the 2-year-olds in my cluster of children, and they all pretty much unilaterally eat dirt. They all eat dirt. Why do they do that? That's gross. No, I'm just kidding. Huh? Because God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. I think it's part of becoming embodied in this earth. That's my conclusion. Or they're just eating, pooping machines.
They're just closer to the ground.
They're closer to the ground. Okay, so basically we don't know. Inhale and come up, and then turn over your right leg. Which one? I don't have time to read that right now in the next 15 minutes. Fold forward. So keep the same leg forward, sorry. Same leg forward, right leg, still the right leg. I meant the right leg when I said the right leg. I know I mix it up sometimes. But. So left hand to the outside of the right foot or shin, whatever you got. Anchor down first, that's the premise. We say root to rise, and that can sound flip because you've heard it too much. But you have to release into the earth in order to extend up. If you watch a basketball player, they always go down to go up. Or no, just up. I mean, have you ever seen a basketball player just be, you can't even do it, just up. It's got to go up. You got to do that whatever you're doing if you're not dribbling a basketball. Pretend everything I say makes sense and we'll be good. Inhale and come up and switch legs. Please take your left leg forward, pull your right foot back. So hug the muscles to the bone. We didn't change sides. I said it like 3 times, but you were in Michael Denoya land, which is fine. That's a tattva. Eyes go back and apart. Fold forward. So your left toes are letting you know that your left leg is mostly straight. Remember at the beginning when we were lying and breathing into your lower belly? That'd be a great thing to do right now. Not lying back, but breathe into your lower belly. And keep working to lengthen from your upper palate either to the pectinate line. These are alternative suggestions, or dens to tail. Inhale and come up. And then twist over your left leg. So rooting down. And then stretch your right arm up, right hand to the outside of the foot, the shin, the knee. But you're letting your organs, which are part of this earthy system, rotate to the left, but using the anchorage of the pelvis. Keep extending all the way through all sides of the neck evenly, but letting the shoulders slide back. Imagining that broadening and widening of the two collarbones, the two scapula, which are mirroring the two halves of the pelvis. There's all this amazing symmetry. One more breath. Inhale, come up. Lie down on your backs. Pull your right knee into your chest and trust your left stretch. Let me say that again. Stretch your left leg straight out. So just for a moment, as you hug the right knee to your chest, arch your lower back for a moment so you can get the top of your left thigh more flush to the earth. The top of your left thigh more flush to the earth, and then lengthen the tail. Clasp your hands behind your right leg and stretch your right foot towards the ceiling. So check out that your left toes are still facing up, because that's basically an indication that the bottom, the inside edge of your left thigh is staying towards the earth. You did so awesome. Soften your eyes back. If you were to look at a picture of the skull, you'd see that your two eye sockets, they look like ice cream cones. And they point inward. They don't go straight back, they point inwards towards the center of your brain, almost like an intentional direction towards the middle of your brain. So when you soften your eyes back, you actually soften the optical nerve, and then all the space behind that that goes pituitary, mammillary body, pineal gland, and all the magic. That's the magic. Soften the jaw. You can soften the jaw by just pushing from the upper palate straight back in that space between your ears towards the earth. Switch legs, right leg down, pull your left knee in. Arch your lower back, just so you can follow the curve of the sacrum and feel how that leg, your right leg, starts really in the middle of your body. And then lengthen the tail, keeping the thigh back. Clasp your hands behind your left thigh, stretch your left foot up. Do you want it there?
Yeah, it smells good.
Oh. So keep working to push the two thighs back towards the hamstrings and away from each other. And then release your left leg to the ground. You have choices. You can take a twist of your choice, or you can Go right into Shavasana. Twist Shavasana or Shavasana, Shavasana? Just because I didn't know if you wanted it on your head. So when you get to Shavasana position, roll your feet in and out a few times, so that they just naturally, without any holding or tension, they just roll out to the side. And make sure that your shoulders are where they'd like to be. So as you push through the back of the head, maybe lift your chest up slightly. And then as you release down, let your scapula and your collarbones, your arm bones kind of move out to the side. Let your tongue soften and plumpen in the floor of your mouth. Your lips part just ever so, they touch ever so slightly, your teeth can part. Allow your inner ears to soften. So the whole vestibular system, your balancing system softens. And sides of your head soften. That space above your ears, let that soften. As your eyes soften back, and the space behind your eyebrows, that's soften and open. And allow your organs to settle back. So as your lungs move with gravity towards the earth, creating a support for your heart. Feel your kidneys on the back soften and ground towards earth. And all the contents between your lower ribs, even that which is unsupported, behind the quadratus lumborum, organs all fall back in this plane, back towards the pull of the earth, which longingly holds you here. Its gravity is a longing for you. All the features of your face soften and your skin softens and your bones. The densest part of your earthy existence, it moves with gravity towards earth. Feel how sweet and supportive and nurturing the hug of the earth is. This loving relationship of density and gravity. This frequency which gives rise to your shape. Through your humanness. Please deepen your breath. Just feeling the air move in as you stay heavy in your being. And gently move your fingers and your toes. And bending your knees, roll to your right side. Staying soft in your inner body. Use your arms to bring yourself back to seated. Bring your hands to your heart. Just registering the difference in your body, if there is one, between beginning and end of practice. And seeing if you can carry with you for the rest of your day a connection to earth, a connection to ground. And even the contemplation of what does it mean. Let's close with one Om, deep breath. Namaste. Thank you, guys.